So today I want to talk a little bit about the iMac. To say that it's been a little while since the iMac was updated would be pretty much the understatement of the century. The last time the regular iMac was updated at all was June of 2017, almost 2 years ago. And the last time the design was updated in any substantial way was 2012. So 2 years since a major update, and nearly 7 years since a redesign. And I mean, you can see, look at those bezels. Those are nutty. It's 2019, people. So let's talk about the vision for the iMac, because I think that 2019 could be a substantial year for the iMac, and recent rumors and leaks have provided some interesting new information that could be relevant to the 2019 iMac. Personally, I'm hoping that since it's been so long since we've seen an update to the iMac, and since it's been so long since we've seen a redesign of the iMac, I think this year we're finally going to get a new generation of iMac. But what exactly is that going to entail? So since about the middle of 2018, there's been this ambiguous rumor of a display performance upgrade to the iMac. And a lot of people have been wondering, what exactly does that mean? There's a bunch of theories, from increasing the resolution to increasing the screen size to making it have magical powers. It's a very ambiguous term, and here's what I think about it. I think it is unlikely that Apple would increase the screen resolution, because Apple has a very specific definition for their Retina displays. They don't like to put more pixels than they think you need. So even stuff like a 5K iMac has the same pixel density roughly as a Retina MacBook Pro. For Apple, it's more about the density than the resolution. And right now the iMac is right where they want it to be in terms of pixel density. So I doubt that we would see a 27-inch 6K or 8K iMac, as some people have been suggesting. I don't think that's likely because, I mean, 5K is definitely more than enough for most people. And since they're on target with their pixel density, I don't think that's where we're headed. What I could see a display performance upgrade being is something like a ProMotion display. I think the iMac would be a really cool product to start implementing higher refresh rate displays. And this isn't exclusive to the iMac. Personally, I think that this is something that we're going to start seeing across the board. That variable refresh rate display that they introduced on the iPad Pro is a really, really cool feature. And I think it would do really, really well on the iMac, especially for like productivity or for editing stuff at high refresh rates. I think it could be really cool. In keeping with the possibility of having a ProMotion display, I think that it's time to talk about design. Now, one theory that I've been floating for a while that I think would be a really good fit for the iMac, and also potentially for other Apple products as well, is sort of taking the iPad Pro approach to this. So you may remember, at the end of 2018, Apple refreshed the iPad Pro with a new design, and basically what they did was they took the smaller iPad and they kept the form factor the same, and they enlarged the screen. And then they took the bigger iPad, kept the screen the same, and shrunk the form factor. Something like that could do really well on the iMac. So the 21.5-inch iMac has the exact same bezel width as the 27s. Now, they look pretty ridiculous as it is on the 27s, so they look even more stupid on a 21-inch iMac. However, if you were to take that 21-inch display, keep the iMac in the same sort of form factor, and probably the same general appearance — Apple doesn't like huge design overhauls, but a similar form factor, and then you were to blow that 21.5-inch screen up to a 24-inch, that would be interesting. And then you could take the 27-inch iMac, which is quite a big device, there's no mistaking it. It's a hefty boy, okay? So you'd pretty much be losing an 1.5 inches off the sides and the top and bottom. That's a pretty significant decrease in the form factor, keeping of course the 27-inch display. That could be very intriguing as well. However, I'm not quite done yet, because recently there have been some interesting rumors that could complicate the situation a little bit. You've probably heard about the rumored 16-inch MacBook Pro and the 32-inch standalone 6K display that is supposed to come out with the Mac Pro later this year. I have an interesting theory about that. So, the one thing that's prevented me from saying that the iMac is going to get bigger is because Apple doesn't change their screen sizes all that much. But if Apple is willing to go to a 16-inch MacBook Pro to keep the form factor but increase the screen size, then I could see that happening over here. Now, one other interesting thing kind of in keeping with this is, well, what would they increase the screen size to? Well, let's talk about that 6K standalone display. If you remember back when Apple used to make displays, the standalone cinema displays dating all the way back to the early 2000s, they basically were the same panels that were used in an iMac, just in a standalone display enclosure. So if you remember back in 2016 when Apple discontinued the last of their Thunderbolt cinema displays, those were 27-inch displays that used the same panel as the iMacs at the time, the pre-5K iMacs. And then, even since then, they're not Apple branded, but the LG Ultrafine displays that come in 21.5 and 27-inch display sizes, those are the same panels that are found in these 27 and 21.5-inch iMacs. So, it stands to reason that if Apple is going to release an Apple-branded 32-inch 6K display, that display would most likely crop up in an iMac as well. Now, this does get a little more complicated because the rumor is for the 16-inch MacBook Pro that the form factor of the current 15-inch would be kept and the screen would be enlarged, removing bezels, and therefore you get a bigger screen. However, that wouldn't quite work in the 27-inch iMac, as I shall now demonstrate. See, we measure the screen size diagonally. So right over here is 27 inches, roughly. Yeah, so 27 inches diagonal. However, if we go all the way to the corners of the device here, it's just shy of 30 inches. So this 32-inch iMac would be a monster. So diagonally, we're looking at about this big, from where my thumb is to up there. That's all screen real estate. That's a big boy. So given the size of a 32-inch display, I think it's possible that we could see the introduction of a third iMac size. We could have our cake and eat it too. We could get a 21.5-inch iMac that gets blown up to a 24, a 27-inch iMac that gets shrunken down a little bit, and then a 32-inch monster that's introduced on top. That, I think, would be very intriguing. Now, I won't talk too much about the internals. It's likely that we'll see 9th generation Core processors. Please, oh please, oh please, can we get some Core i7 standard? Can we get some SSDs standard? Can we get some 16 gigabytes of RAM as standard? Please, oh please, I'm begging of you. That's all separate, that's all been said before, but I think that having 3 iMac sizes is not impossible. If Apple is going to go to the trouble to develop a 6K 32-inch display, I think there might be a 6K 32-inch iMac. And if there is, I will probably get one because that sounds awesome. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was kind of rambly, kind of unstructured, and I apologize for pointing at you with my tape measure. It won't happen again. Damn it. Well, anyway, like, comment, subscribe. Feel free to join my subreddit. All of that stuff is linked down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.